Hello everybody, hope you're doing alright, hope you're keeping safe, hope you're keeping sane. Yes, I've gone full ninja for today's video. I think more sort of like, the ninjas that dressed head to toe in black, not the blue-haired geezer who plays Fortnite. But anyway, I think I've been derailed already, but I want to talk about something that I think is actually quite a serious subject today, regards gambling addiction and recovery, which, as you may well know, is kind of my motif when it comes to this channel. Now, it has been brought to my attention, or actually it brought itself to my attention, that there is a channel here on YouTube, quite a new channel, that has the kind of sole purpose and focus on discrediting and exposing, to use a very internet word, gambling streamers, gambling affiliates, and gambling content creators here on YouTube. Now, I will say that this channel was brought to my attention because they stole my thumbnails, but I'm not fussed about that. It's just that's what caught my eye. And also, I do want to say at the front end, because I know that the guy who runs this channel watches my videos, that this isn't a personal attack. It's more of an observation around this seemingly new uprising in anti-streamer, affiliate sentiment. And for the sake of this video, I think I'll just lump them all together and call them streamers, because we all know really when I say that who I'm talking about. And I want to sort of talk about that really because I think it has the potential in itself to be a little bit of a danger to those who are suffering with this addiction. And I mean the blame game there rather than actually the streamers themselves. What I will say towards the front end of this video is that I am not defending people who make their money through gambling affiliation. I think it's a fairly immoral way of making money. This isn't a defense of streamers. It certainly isn't a defense of anyone who misrepresents gambling through the use of fake money, fake balances, casino sponsored money, all the rest of it, all the stuff we've heard lots of people talk about. So it's not a defense of them, but what I'd like to do in the interest of this video is lump these streamers in together with other forms of gambling advertising and gambling promotion. I think it's fairly safe to say that what as might happen soon with the increased regulation we have with Twitch and with YouTube, that if the streamer affiliate model becomes untenable for casinos, online casinos and online gambling companies, then we're very likely to see the reallocation of the money that's being paid to these people to other forms of gambling promotion. So if they no longer give affiliates money because they're not getting the sign-ups because they can't put the content out there in the public domain, then that money is likely to be redirected to other forms of promotion, be that, advert retargeting, so you get lots of pop-up ads in, the toolbars of your internet browsers, or even you may have seen an advert for a gambling company before this video. I know YouTube is very much in bed with these companies, and gambling advertising is rife across the platform. They may even pay Ray Winston another few grand to, put in a 20-second cameo on one of their adverts. Who knows? But the point of the matter is that I believe that streamers, although there is a good argument that they are potentially harmful to both gamblers and non-gamblers, looking at this from an outside perspective, they are harmful, but they are part of a much larger potential problem in the form of gambling promotion. So, with all my disclaimers out of the way, because I don't, want to repeat the hate I've got previously, where everyone said I was, sticking up for and defending all these streamers, and that, I was obviously friends with them all, and all these other, and someone told me I must be, in bed with the casinos. It's all very odd, but now I've made my position on that clear. Why do I think that this new channel, which I'm not singling out, but this uprising in anti-streamer sentiment is not particularly beneficial to gambling addicts, recovering gamblers, and potential problem gamblers? And I think the essence of this comes down to the fact that it's really two very separate issues. And again, before you shoot me down in flames, let me explain. Gambling addiction is what we have, and it's what we are, battling against internally. And I believe it is what we should be focused on. Gambling is very prevalent in current society. 24/7 gambling has been a thing now for a good number of years, and the promotion of such has been, rapidly growing exponentially, albeit plateauing recently with new whistle-to-whistle regulations and all the rest of it. And I think if we start to lose focus on ourselves, if we start to lose focus on our own recovery and to start to create a straw man kind of situation where we are demonizing a specific group of people, however immoral we may consider them, we are taking the focus away from ourselves and pinning it firmly to the door of these people, these streamers. So if we're spending our time targeting streamers as being potentially harmful, and there's no doubting that they potentially are, then we're really disregarding our own safeguarding and our own recoveries. And we are, by doing that, we are in effect saying that these are the cause of all gambling problems, and by narrowing our focus towards the regulation out of existence or the abolition of these content creators here on YouTube, Twitch, whatever, we are by implication saying that not only is this the reason we gamble, and that's a dangerous sentiment which I shall come on to in a moment, but also that the abolition of these streamers would fix the gambling epidemic that we are suffering here in the UK, and actually, to be fair, other countries are suffering from just as badly at the moment. So why do I think that apportioning blame to these streamers is a bad thing? Because surely they may potentially be partially to blame for gambling, and I don't dispute that, and I think there was a strong argument for that. All addicts at some point or another have blamed their addiction on external factors. The most obvious one that comes to mind is alcoholism. Now, most people, and I know this from speaking to some experts, most people who get into alcohol in a dangerous and addictive way do so before they're legally old enough to drink in a pub. And very, very often, the alcohol consumption comes off the back of childhood trauma, or even in the case of older addicts, comes off the back of some sort of life event or some sort of traumatic experience that allows alcohol to become a crutch, to become a form of escapism. We hear about it all the time, that someone loses their partner, loses their parents, something tragic happens in their life, something devastating, something traumatic, and they hit the bottle, which is a commonly used term. And this then perpetuates and snowballs into a fully fledged alcohol addiction. Now, would we be right to attribute this addiction to this, this catalyst? Well, yes. I mean, even if there were potentially underlying, propensities to drink, there is quite clearly a life event or something that has triggered this to become an out of control problem. In the same way that someone might have an underlying propensity to gamble, but viewing these videos regularly has caused them to maybe sign up to new casinos, to gamble more frequently, to gamble at higher stakes in pursuit of a larger win. So I'm not saying this isn't a justifiable, tenable reason as to why someone has increased their consumption of a harmful product, increased their consumption of a harmful service or activity, in this case gambling. What I'm saying is that if we constantly look retrospectively at the cause of the problem, then we are diverting our focus away from fixing it. If I spend my life blaming the bullies at my secondary school, who really kind of led me to seeking gambling on fruit machines as a form of escapism, then I would be focused on them. And whilst they are partially to blame for my addiction, I'd see no doubt about that. But if I constantly and consciously look retrospectively at that problem and at that cause, then I'm not looking forward as to what I can do now to resolve the issue within myself that will make my life better. I am doing myself a disservice by laying the blame at the doors of others, even if it is partially their fault. And I think, I don't know, with regards to this new channel, which I'm not specifically, making an example of, because there are many people doing the same thing, and I don't think it's inherently bad. I don't think it's done with any malice or any malintent, apart from towards the targets of the videos. I don't know the gambling status of the gentleman behind that channel. He may be a recreational gambler. He may be someone who has actually, has very little to do with gambling, but has seen these streamers and actually wanted to raise this as an issue, and that's very worthy. I think if you believe in something strongly enough, it's great to go out there and talk about it. But if we were, for example, to say that someone is making these videos and making one of these channels targeting streamers specifically, but they themselves are a recovering gambling addict, a gambling addict, or someone who has the potential to develop a severe gambling problem, then realistically their focus should remain on themselves and not on laying the blame for either theirs or other people's propensity to gamble in a harmful way at the door of others. Now, I will be the first to acknowledge the level of hypocrisy in me talking about this, because of course I made videos about gambling and about gambling recovery and gambling addiction in the early stages of my recovery, and I have acknowledged myself that that was premature, and that by doing this I was maybe not keeping all the focus on myself, and that I was actually focusing maybe on gambling too much when it should be something should have been getting away from, both sort of physically but also psychologically, and talking about it keeps it in the forefront of your mind. So I do acknowledge that hypocrisy, which I've done in a previous video and I've spoken about before, and actually it was ultimately one of the elements that I believe led to a previous lapse. So in summary, I just want to say that I've got no ill feeling towards these channels. I've certainly got no ill feeling towards you using my thumbnails. But I think that if we insist on demonising a set group of people, and if it wasn't streamers, maybe it would be the sponsorship of football teams or the celebrities that appear in gambling adverts or whatever, we are effectively building a straw man as a target for our hate, and the idea that if we were to abolish said, straw man in whatever form it takes, that this would not only solve gambling as a whole, it would solve our own problems with our addiction. And that obviously isn't the case, because the addiction lies much deeper than the triggers which might, cause us to act on it. I hope this makes sense. If you're watching, thank you. I appreciate your, the sentiment behind your videos. If you want to chat, obviously drop us a message and we can have a chat. But the rest of you, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay sane, look after yourselves, and I'll speak to you on the next video.